If you're constantly tired, running slower, feeling like you're in pain all the time, and consistently getting injured, it's time to make a change. Einstein said the height of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. As you get older, the problem is that doing the same thing is leading you to progressively worse results. In this video, we're going to show you how to break the cycle.
I say this with the utmost respect. Leave your ego behind. I do understand that as an aging athlete, it is very difficult to come to terms with the fact that you are getting older, and it is quite difficult to let go of what you're hanging on to, what you used to be able to do when you were in your 20s, the performances you were able to put out, the way your body felt when you were younger. And by admitting to this often means we're admitting to getting older. So I completely understand that sentiment, but it is important that we do exactly that. Forget the fact that when you were in your 20s, you were capable of X. Your body has changed, there are differences, and you now need to come to terms with the fact that you need to do things differently going forward.
One of the first things you've got to let go of is PRs, personal records, your fastest times for given distances. You are going to get slower over time. What we want to do is we want to minimize that regression, and so realign your targets to run season's best. My dad sets himself new targets every year so that he can target seasonal bests. And the amazing thing about doing this tactic is that he's managed over the last 4 years to stay within a 3-second band on his 5-mile 8K time trial all the way up to the marathon. And there have been 1 or 2 years where he's been drastically faster than the year before. So change that mindset and work to be the best that you can be this year.
The next thing we need to reset is our mindset about how we train, the specific training principles. When we were in our younger years, when we were in our 20s and our 30s, we could get away with a lot more. But now as we're getting older, the margins for error are a lot smaller. And so we really need to be specific about this and change the way that we train so that we're not getting ourselves into trouble. Strength training is so important because it not only diminishes that natural loss of lean muscle mass, but it can actually reverse those effects of losing muscle mass over time. So for this reason, strength training it's not a nice to have, it's not something that you need to add, it is a non-negotiable. You have to add this into your training. We've put together a free master strength training program for you. It's very easy to do, doesn't require a lot of equipment. You can do it at home. You can grab that by clicking on the link on the screen now. The next principle that we really need to reset our mindsets on is recovery. And they often say that you shouldn't train children the same way you do adults, and in the same way, you can't expect to train the way you did in your 20s and your 30s now as you're getting older. And the reason is you require a lot more recovery. Why is recovery so important? People think that you're getting the benefits of exercise while you're doing it, so while you're running or lifting that weight. But in actual fact, what's happening there is that the body's breaking down. And so when you give your body some time to recover, it goes, oh, I don't like feeling like that, and makes itself a little bit stronger. And that is really the important thing here. And as we're getting older, we require a lot more time for this recovery. The processes are a little bit slower, and so we have to allow ourselves more time for recovery. This is both in your training sessions, in your runs, your training paces. You want to be doing those a little bit slower so that you're not making yourself too tired for your next training run, as well as in your overall weekly plan. You want to be putting in enough recovery days between sessions, again, to allow yourself enough time to recover before the next session.
So Shona's mentioned what we should be considering in our training and that change in mindset. There are, however, a few subtle differences between male and female athletes over the age of 50. In general, the same principles will apply between male and female athletes. However, there are subtle differences for us to consider here. It is key that we note female athletes over the age of 50 require more individualization in their training plan. You could be 2 females, both aged 50, both on a sub 3-hour marathon plan, for example. There are hormonal differences that your bodies are undertaking, and as a result will respond slightly differently to similar training loads. So it is important there to individualize those training plans a little bit more intensely for female athletes. Another factor to consider is the work to rest ratio. Shona mentioned the need for recovery and more recovery as we age, but there has been evidence to show that female athletes work better on a shorter build to rest ratio than what male athletes work on. What do I mean by that? For example, our programs generally work on a 4-week cycle. So for male athletes, we would generally work 3-week build to a 1-week recovery and build on that in that same cycle. Whereas female athletes have shown to benefit more from working on a 3-week cycle. So 2-week build to 1-week recovery. So that rest ratio is happening a little bit more frequently. There's more need for recovery, and being able to recover better will improve performance for female athletes if we are getting that cycle right. And then another factor is the strength training. Now, both male and female athletes, for us a non-negotiable really is the strength training. But in female athletes, the type of strength training becomes that much more important. I'm really referring to things like resistance training. Now again, depending on your level, resistance could be body weight training if you're an absolute beginner, or using things like resistance bands and weights. So resistance training is vital for female athletes, and more importantly, the high intensity interval type training. That training is going to be key for bone health improvements as well as reducing that muscle mass loss. So not to say males shouldn't be doing high intensity interval training, but it just becomes absolutely vital for female athletes to be including resistance and high intensity interval training into your strength program.
Another aspect that we need to reset is our thoughts and our ideas around nutrition. It's always a vital component while we're running, but it becomes really, really pivotal the older we get. I spoke a lot around the loss of lean muscle mass over time. That's a natural process. And so utilizing nutrition to help combat that is really key. By increasing your protein intake along with strength training, we can help minimize that natural loss of lean muscle mass over time. It also will help you with your recovery. If you are making sure that you're replenishing what you used while you're running, so after your run, ensuring that you're getting a good combination of carbohydrates and protein, some sort of mix. We've recommended a chocolate milk before in one of our videos. That is really going to aid your recovery and allow you to get to your next session feeling even better.
Accepting that you're getting older and therefore slowing down is only part of the solution. Knowing what to do and how to implement the changes is the only way you're going to be able to improve with your new you. We're hosting a free masterclass called Faster Beyond 50 to show you exactly how to do that. Click on the link on screen right now to book your seat.